Brendan Hyacine Stringer up in the commentary position. I hope you can hear as we're trying to dissect your goal. What a tremendous goal it was. And actually heaping a bit of praise, clearly Vardy, clearly under, but we're just slobbering up here over the ball from Yuri Tillemans. What a ball that was. Congratulations.
Cheers, Ian. Yeah, it was a moment of real quality in the game. Yuri, as I said, he makes a perfect pass, but it all comes from the run. You know what I'm always talking, as you know, about people running in behind and running, off the ball. And Chenga's movement was great. He nearly got in just before it. His touch sort of just, went to the side, but that was great pass, great run, and he just squared it when he maybe could have took it on himself. And then and Jamie is there to finish. So yeah, a brilliant goal to win the game.
And I'm fascinated to have a chat with you, Brendan, if you wouldn't mind, about your tactics going into the game and the tactics and the quality and the endeavour all coming in. We'll talk about the strikers and your selections in a moment, if you wouldn't mind, but just talk us through your tactics, because it was clearly effort, it was clearly desire, and to try and stay in the game and nullify Arsenal. What were your tactics going into this game, and why do you think that you came out on top?
I think if you look, it's the first time Arsenal have lost this calendar year at home, so it tells you how strong they've been. Listen, the game is always about denying space, and lots of games we'll always put pressure high up the pitch and look to win the ball back. When you're playing against the quality of Arsenal and the speed of Arsenal, then we decided to press them and static goal kick where we could, and then if not, recover into that sort of medium resting sort of phase of pressure, and just making sure your lines are tight. And they actually played in a slightly different structure to what we anticipated, but our setup still allowed us to cope with that. So now you come away to the big teams, it's you've got to have high level concentration, you've got to defend well, you've got to be concentrated that everyone has to do the job, and then you know that you then, with your quality, you're going to be able to play yourself into the game. So play through the pressure well and deal with it, and then knowing that our quality is going to get us opportunities, and thankfully it worked out well for us.
Matt Piper was scratching his head as to who to give man of the match to tonight, Brendan. I'm sure you probably feel a bit of sympathy for him. He gave it to non-police Mendy. Just looking at some stats that somebody pointed out to me earlier on, he conceded 11 shots in the first half, 1 in the second half. How instrumental was he, certainly in the second period, to breaking those things down and being the screen that he wasn't, that he was? That's before we get to Wesley Fofana again, of course.
Yeah, I think our lines were much better in the second half. I felt that when we dropped in the first half, we were a little bit in between, so we allowed the space. Even though we were dropped, we were still a bit too high to allow the space in behind. Our distances were perfect second half. When we weren't pressing, we could recover and get into a shape that meant that everything was going to be in front of us. But for that, you need players with big concentration and diligence to do the work, and they did that. But then, when they got the ball, they then started to then play through that pressure. So so Papiss, along with the team, were excellent in that in the defensive organisation.
Jamie Vardy, you gave half an hour to Brendan. Was we're assuming up in the commentary box that he was only fit for half an hour. Was he, or was he? What was the situation? Was the plan to get to an hour and to introduce him because he's not got any more in him for half an hour? What was the situation there?
Yeah, well, exactly that. Well, we get so many games in, and we've got to make sure that we get as many of the players through them as we can. Jamie's obviously not trained apart from the last couple of days, which weren't high intensity. So, but he came through with the medical team well, so we felt that we could bring him into that final 30 minutes of the game. We started with Harvey up front, because I always like a striker that can stretch the game and collects you great, taking the ball in, setting the game up like you've seen against our Ukrainian team during the week. He was very good in that set-up phase. But I didn't feel we need that, because we're playing with 2 number 10s just in behind, Dennison and James. So Harvey was only stretched the game. But the idea was always to bring Jamie on, and then he, as we all know, he's a huge threat, and he gives a great confidence to the team as well. So yeah, fantastic goal, and obviously we bring Chenga and Mark comes into the game. It makes a valuable contribution as well. just showing it up on that side, and he actually made some great passes for Jamie Hills.
Final one from me, Brendan, if you wouldn't mind. The last time Leicester City won an away league game was in the year of your birth, actually, 1973. It's a historic night for Leicester City, and it's been a long, long time in the waiting, and a vital contribution. But it's been a while, Brendan.
Yeah, well, 47 years is a long, long time, for sure. So, now listen, Mikel's done a fantastic job here. I'm, admired as a young manager coming in on your first job. I think he's done great. And for us to be the first team to win here this calendar year really shows the quality of his work, but also the big quality of our players and how well they've done. So it was a great win, a great night. Just a shame the supporters couldn't be here to celebrate, but hopefully at home they recognise the team efforts, and it's 4 wins from 6, and the team's moving along really well.
Thanks for joining us, Brendan. Congratulations tonight.
Cheers, thank you.
Jamie Ware, please. You touched upon it there, speaking to Ian, but just that must be one of the more satisfying wins you've had as a manager, because that was a tactical masterclass this evening to soak up that pressure and then gradually move through the gears.
Yeah, I think you play against Arsenal and you see the quality and you see how they move you about. So you've got to be really, really disciplined, and it's about deciding where you're going to deny them space. They're very good in the build-up phase. And normally, when you see them, once they've played through you in the build-up phase, they can see some of the goals in their away because they're such fast players and dynamic players. So for us, it was trying to press it from the static goal kick. Once we were beaten in that phase, get recovered in and get into your shape. So tactically, you need a big concentration, and you need focus, and you need to get your distances right. And for that, the players were brilliant. And then, of course, when you win it back, you've got to be able to play, and you had that confidence to be able to do it.
Just one other one from me. Were you scratching your head as to why Hector Bellerin was still on the pitch? Because that looked like a stonewall second yellow for the lunge on James Justin. Ultimately, it didn't cost you, but it took a very good save from Casper about 10 minutes later from Bellerin.
No, it was an interesting one. You look at it again, it's a foul, and he's obviously trying to protect himself a little bit. JJ by sort of going over the way he did, but there's contact there, so it's a foul. So no, you'd have to ask Craig that one.
John Cross, please.
Hello, Brendan. Good to see you. I just wonder whether I can ask you take you back to Jamie Vardy, please. He's got this incredible record against Arsenal, Brendan. Did you always have that, in your mind that he was liable to come on and just with his pace, and his sweat that he could, get another one against them tonight?
Yeah, always the case. I think every game, he looks like scoring, and he's disappointed he didn't have another one because he was through 1-on-1 and on a slight angle, and he's obviously been unfortunate to not score, but he's a world-class striker, John, and he's a guy that I always like the strikers to be able to stretch the game and get in behind, and he does that so well. And like you say, he's up there for the ball to be squared and finished. So he's an incredible talent. Obviously, we'd love to have started him, but having been out with his calf, we just needed to make sure we nurse him back in. The plan was always make sure we're in the game, and then he can come in for 30 minutes and really stretch the game for us.
Yourselves and Arsenal have made decent starts, really good starts to the season, but this maybe takes you on to another level. It puts you in the top 4 now. Just how much can you take out of the positive start that you've made to the season?
Yeah, but with the 6 games we've had, obviously top away games, to go to Man City and win was exceptional performance. Different type of performance here, but outstanding win for us against a top club. And again, we've showed learning, and we've showed different ways to win. We've in all 6 games, we've pressed the game really well, and West Brom was a good test for it in the first game. In other games we had to dig in and score goals against Burnley. So yeah, we've a different types of win, and that's what's pleasing me most about the start so far. The development of the team is showing that they can win in different ways, and we have the flexibility to play in different systems. And that's fantastic. Whilst the young players are learning and gaining confidence. So this was another tick in the box for them for their development as a team. And yeah, I think it was a deserved victory.
Thanks, Brendan.
Cheers, John.
Jordan Blackwell, please.
Hi, Brendan.
Hi, Jordan.
You said, I think it was after the Zoria game, that Wesley Fofana, because of his age, he is going to make mistakes at some point. We've not seen it yet. Just how good do you think he can be once he gets that extra experience, playing alongside Johnny Evans?
Well, clearly, for a boy of 19 years of age, it was why we worked so hard to get him in, because he's coming into a developing team. He's going to make mistakes. At times he stays on the ball a bit longer and gets passed off early. And sometimes he just gets a fraction too tight. But I like my defenders to be able to defend forward and jump forward. And that's just going to be the experience of when to be full pressing and when to be three-quarter press. But he's so many natural attributes. Physically, he's a big boy. He's great in the air, strong, he's quick. He'll never get bullied as a centre half. So his profile is perfect for the British game. And then what you see, he can play. He takes the ball, he passes the ball, he can step in with the ball, and he can play short and longer passes. So it's great. But like I've had with many young players, they'll have moments in their careers where they'll dip. He's playing a lot of high intensity games, he's playing consecutively, but he's a big talent and one that's only going to get better.
And can I just ask about Charles Soyuncu as well? He posted a video earlier of him sort of doing some work at the training ground. Has a decision been made on whether he's going to have the operation or not?
I've no answer on that as of yet, Jordan. I'll let you know later in the week.
Thank you.
Okay.
Cheers. We'll just finish with Mark Owen, then we'll let Gallon.
Hi, Brendan. Very quickly, I don't know if you've seen the incident. The goal that was ruled out up for Arsenal very early on. Have you seen that one until again? And do you know exactly why it was ruled out?
I haven't seen it again, Mark, but they were saying it might have been for the initial foul on Casper. Of course, the time goes in the net, and then the linesman flag goes up. So I assume that's what it was for.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
Okay.
guys.
Cheers. Thank you.